710 ESPN Seattle presents Bob and Groz's One More Thing.
Powered by the law offices of Heidi Hunt.
Another vote of confidence. We had a chance to talk to former GM Jim Bowden today about what's going on with the Mariners. Obviously, Prince Fielder is not here, and just get a GM perspective on the whole situation. This is a guy who understands the position Jack Z's in, and kind of gave him another vote of confidence, saying, "Listen, I understand why they didn't make the move. I understand why he went to Detroit, and they are doing things the right way in Seattle." Which I think, hearing that from another former GM would make a Mariner fan feel a little bit better about the process.
A little bit better, but patience is running thin, and I know Mariner fans don't want to hear the P word, but unfortunately that's where they are. Patience is something that Mariner fans are going to have, and it was nice to hear a former general manager that understands that. Whether the Mariner fan base will understand that's going to be a different story, especially when the opening day comes.
I think it's easier to have patience when you saw what you saw last year, and I'm not talking about the results, the win-loss, but when you saw Ackley come up, and when you bring in a guy like Jesus Montero, when you saw a little bit out of Kyle Seager, you saw a little bit out of just the young guys, it gave you some hope. You looked at it and said, all right, maybe they're not there this year, next year, but these are guys you feel like you can build around, rather than aging veterans. You're trying to tape everything together with the Jack Cusses of the world. Does that not make you feel a little bit better as a Mariner fan?
Absolutely, and let's not forget the entire reason for the Pineda trade for Jesus Montero to begin with, and that is the confidence that Jack Zduriencik and the organization has in the up-and-coming arms. I think people are going to fall in love with a guy like James Paxton. He's 6'4", 225, power arm from the left side. Danny Hultzen, the high pick out of Virginia. Taijuan Walker, granted he's only 19 years old, but those three guys are as big of a reason as any that the Mariners dealt Michael Pineda in the first place.
Yeah, and what I also loved is his comment on Jesus Montero, and it's been pretty much a consensus. Everybody talking about this guy as being the real deal. I mean, I know a lot of Mariner fans haven't had a chance to see him, only 61 at-bats last year, but you heard Brian Cashman come out and say, that may be the best player I've ever traded. I mean, to hear that coming out of there, and I don't think it's hyperbole because it's been across the board. A lot of people feeling like, all right, I think you said it, they gave up $1.25 to get $1, gave up a potential ace, but you're getting something in return, and this isn't a bag of rubber dog do here. This is a guy that looks like he can be a very big piece, a fixture in the middle of that lineup for years to come.
Well, it's going to be compelling at the very minimum that this is a massive risk by Jack Zduriencik. There's no other way to describe it, but I think it's a risk he had to take. The Mariners clearly were not in the Prince Fielder sweepstakes. 9 years and $214 million is just an absurd amount to pay, in my opinion, for what eventually will become a designated hitter. And if the Mariners aren't going to be big players for that kind of money, this is how they're going to have to develop talent at the positional level. They have the second best hitting prospect behind Bryce Harper and Jesus Montero, and at the very minimum it's going to be very compelling to see what he's going to be able to do in the middle of the Mariner order.
So there's hope. Mariner fans, have patience.
It's okay.
Well done.
There it is. Done.
And I'm spent.